Welcome to the Kissimmee Prairie. My name's Tim Pazusco. I'm one of the board members for the Citizen Support Organization. I missed the meeting, so they elected me president. I did my master's research over a couple miles that way on the old Audubon property. And we meet around this thing because it's Carolina parakeet, and it's looking out that way, which is where the last nest of this bird was seen. And it's now extinct. And I was born and raised in Cocoa Beach, and I went to a Boy Scout camp out in the late 60s at a place called Dunnett's Cove, just north of KSC, where I work now as a biologist. And there was an older, tall, thin guy who took us on a field trip out in the marshes. Perhaps you've heard of him, Alan Cruikshank. He told us about this bird that he said was probably going to be gone by the time we were his age. It was a dusky seaside sparrow, and it was gone by the time I was 30. And it has a member of the same genus, which is Amadramus, which is Latin for sandrunner, that's in dire straits here, and that's the Florida grasshopper sparrow. It's actually the kind of the hub subspecies that the other subspecies are thought to have subspeciated from. And we're hoping we don't have to put a statue up for that one. And I just wanted to welcome you to this and thank you for taking an interest, because we're fighting the fight to try and keep this most imperiled bird in North America off of this list, and you all are helping in that by coming here, and we appreciate it. With that, I'm going to turn it over to the real stars of the show. All yours. All yours.
Roger did the morning, I'll do the afternoon. I want to thank you for coming out to join us. I hope we have a good time this afternoon. Roger and I both approach wildflowers from a slightly different but unified perspective, so we're here to show you stuff and talk about things. But if you see something and you want to stop us and ask us what it is, please do so. This is your day, not ours. I just love this place, and it's one of the most diverse kinds of places you will be in Florida. You talk about rainforest diversity. I think we sometimes forget how much diversity there really is in a lot of other natural systems closer to home, and this is one of them. We could go to just about any spot out here in this incredibly vast place. I mean, this is so huge, and see completely different things than what we're going to see walking around today. So get a chance to come back in the fall when we do this, you'll see different things. And if you get a chance to camp here and spend a couple days and go in different directions, you'll see different things. We're going to see some Calipoga and Pallidus today for sure, and a bunch of other really beautiful wildflowers. But I know from the times I've been here that week to week, month to month, this place changes. Even the same place you're standing in will have different things blooming. So our job today is just to take you out and enjoy it and point out some of what's pretty. We're in a grassland. I just want to set the stage just a tiny little bit. I'm from the Midwest. Roger grew up in Cocoa Beach too, so he's a real Floridian. He knows the state. I'm a Yankee interloper, but I've been trying to learn the state since I came here. But in the Midwest, we have prairies. Most of them got turned into bean and cornfields, so they're all pretty endangered too in terms of natural systems. But you're in a tall grass prairie like there is in southern Wisconsin, or you're in a tall grass prairie here, there is so much similarity. There's still most of the same grasses and a lot of the same genera of wildflowers. That this is a natural thing, and the only place in Florida that we really have this expansive dry prairie that would have been here for ages and ages and ages. It's not an artifact, and it's not a Payne's Prairie, which is really a marsh. It's not particular Payne's Prairie. This is a unique place, and so being involved and being out here today and doing all you can do to keep this place going. This is kind of in the middle of nowhere. What we can do to help keep it going and manage properly, because they do a great job, is an important thing. We're going to take this little hay ride, so to speak. It's just a trailer with hay bales on it. We're taking you out. And we're not going to go very far down the road, actually, and we're not going to go that far into the prairie, but I don't think we really have to see a lot of stuff. And we're going to go from there just up the road a bit and see some completely different stuff, and take the buggy ride if you can sometime and see more of this place come back. Is there any questions?
There are some rain squalls in the neighborhood, so if you have cameras and you need to protect them from getting wet, you might want to grab a plastic bag or something or whatever if you don't have one already. We're going to start this right over here by this oak tree real briefly. So everybody come on over here.
One of the smallest wildflowers in Florida. It's really hard to get a picture of.
Spanish moss is in full raising bloom here. Little green flowers right here. This is a bromeliad, and it's the widest ranging bromeliad in the world. It has the largest natural range all over the southeast United States, all down through tropical Americas. And most people don't realize it actually blooms, and you can see little tiny green flowers. You get up in Georgia or someplace where there's tons of trees with Spanish moss, you can smell these flowers. It's this real sweet scent in the air, so it's kind of a cool thing. So it's not a moss, nor is it from Spain. It's a bromeliad.
Which is a pineapple.
Which is a pineapple. You see them?
You just don't get very good fruit off this.
Yeah. Okay, let's load up on the hay wagon.
There's no seat belts, so
Palestine seat.
none of that either. We're going to go slow enough that no one's going to die. If you sign a waiver, there'll be a...
In just 1 month without having a mineral break separating it. So that's really interesting that not what we want to do is we don't want to just moonscape 1,500 acres and have it all the same structure. So this is going to be having a better return than this a month ago. So if the birds and the animals, they need a place to go, they can have a sanctuary in this. And then we're going to have, to the south of us, the largest portion of this zone, it's going to be burnt. So it's all going to be coming back on different rotations. And it's going to be really neat to see as it goes through the spring how each month returns with, and what it's going to be returning with.
How far apart are these two burns?
A month. Yep.
A month ago.
And that thing burned 1 month ago. You know, people think fire is... I tell my classes all the time. The news always says fire destroyed 10,000 acres. Fire doesn't destroy anything except people's houses and structures. What fire does is reset the time clock on and allow things to live that would otherwise get crowded out if it was never done. And it's a really fast response to a system like this. It's designed to burn. Grasses are designed to burn evolutionarily. They're just things that burn. Light a grass fire someday and see how fast it gets out of control. It's unbelievable. And so these all want to burn, and burning them regularly keeps it more open. And all the diversity that we're walking through is partly that the palmettos can't take over dominance. They're here, but they're not dominating this landscape to the extent they would in a flatwoods that's burned every 6 or 7 years.
What's the burn? 2-3 years? Or
Out here, we're striving for 2 years. So once we get the entire preserve on a 2-year rotation, we'll have it where we want to be. And the importance of the growing season fire is saying one of these black clouds over here could drop a lightning bolt, hit the ground, but we don't have any rain. So that's why this is the time that we want to burn, and this is the time that the plants want to be burned. They're adapted for our Florida lightning season before we're having the rain backing up with the thunderstorms.
So you're looking at this climax plant community. We also realize that it's dominated by grasses, but it's also dominated by oaks, just like so many systems are. And so we're standing in this giant pile of really old 4 or 5 oak that almost never gets taller than your knee, and we can burn it at stage patches, and there's pawpaws and gopher apples and a lot of other bionias and all kinds of things out here that would normally become shrubs, except they burn back, they're underground, they recover, they stay short, they still flower and fruit. So walk down this trail at the speed that we're all comfortable at, which we really slow comfortably. And Roger, you got, we're standing in a whole pile of things.
I'd like to do one quick bit of housekeeping.
Yes.
This is like the top grasshopper sparrow habitat on the planet, pretty much. So you probably won't, but just be aware where you're putting your feet. There's paperwork associated with stepping on nests and rattlesnakes.
Sticks with diamond-shaped markings.
Don't pick it up. It's a bad walking stick. And don't put it in a pillowcase and keep it on your bed either. But this little purple thing right here is Bucknera. That's called blue heart. And this is the really common white top sedge, colorata. And that thing is black root. We're standing in a pile of that. And that little purplish stuff sticking up is one of the common asters that is often closed by this time of day, but it's overcast, so this rose rush is still open and common. Those are all fairly common plants. And of course, we're going to see the other erigeron. I like to point that out because this one is quercifolious, which means it has leaves kind of like an oak. And this is a really common roadside disturbed site daisy fleabane. But a little further in, we're going to see one with shiny basal leaves that has slightly different flowers. They'll be open better now than they were this morning. And that one is a spring one, Vernus, which is vernal, all the same basic Latin.
What is this little thing right here? I'm not familiar with this one. What did you say, Colorado?
Oh.
You can see other tillandsias. This little narrow-leaved one up there is Tillandsia cetacea. These little ball-like ones are Tillandsia recurvata. Here's cetacea right here. So this is the same genus as this. And at night, if you're up in Georgia where the Spanish moss is just draping everywhere, these flowers get so prolific you can smell them in the air. They're real fragrant. So,
But they don't do that here in Florida.
well, you can smell them, but they're just not usually enough of them to, I mean, if you got to some place like, a place where I did smell them was up in Marjorie Kinnan Rawlings State Park up in Alachua, down in Cross Creek. And boy, when you sit down on that old cottage of hers there in that state park, man, I mean, you want to get a red bone hound and a harmonica out, boy. I mean, and the bromelia, the Spanish moss is just draping everywhere, and you could smell them there. But
Just notice that on the ground.
this is Tillandsia. This is a really corporate Utriculata. This thing usually gets huge. This is the only bromeliad in Florida that doesn't sucker from the base and form cups from the base of the plant. But this is going to have a little white flowers and relatively boring compared to some of the other ones.
So this one up here on this cabbage palm with all those flowers, what is that?
Down there in Tampa. And the lady in her yard said that they wanted to shade the area.
When I just went out to once you get
What's this one up there?
Well, the skinny-leaved one is Tillandsia cetacea. Way up high, the highest one is recurvata, the ball moss. You'll even see that one growing on power lines. It just roots right onto a power line. You see a ball. And then down below it is another one of these Utriculatas, the giant wild pine, and it's going to get big. And like I said, that one is the only species in Florida that doesn't have the ability to sucker at the base, so it's only spreads by seed. The other one, seed. When a bromeliad flowers, it dies, but it's either going to spread from seed or it's going to spread from offsets or suckers.